your child's classroom.
If you were watching us this morning and you catch yourself feeling a little bit stressed out, you're noticing some changes with your children, maybe you and your spouse aren't getting along quite as well as you once did, that connection is just becoming a bit of an issue. Our next guest this morning hopefully will help you and make you feel a little bit encouraged. They are with Evergreen Therapy and they are here to share with us this morning. So on the end we have Caitlin Schrader, next to her is Aaron Rayburn, and next to me is Martha Law, each specializing in something a little bit unique at their practice of 9, but you all work together as a team, so nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
We kind of had a hard time getting started, knowing where do you even begin when you talk about the benefits of counseling and therapy. So I'll launch the first one and I'll throw it to you, Martha, and that is that I think a lot of us wait, or we think we're supposed to wait until there's a problem, but sometimes if there's just a gnawing discontent, that can be enough to get you in the door.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the big stigmas around therapy is we think we have to have this big distressing event to really go seek help. And oftentimes it's, underlying worry about my kids or about my job or money, finances, underlying worry about what's going on in the world, right? Like some of these little things, it doesn't have to be a 10 out of 10 distress for you to go and seek some support and understand better what you're going through so you can cope with it a little bit better.
There is this tendency, I think, that we all live in a bubble or think that it's only happening to us, but I had asked you, Aaron, if y'all were seeing any kind of trends, if you will, and you were all pretty quick to chime in on some things. But one is this, it sounds like this sense of isolation maybe still lingering, I guess, from COVID.
Absolutely. Since COVID, we saw a rise in people seeking mental health support. But since COVID, we're still seeing that trend. I think people are becoming more aware of the effects of that isolation and stress. It sort of was a universal leveling where people became more aware of the things that they were struggling with. And now what we're seeing is that people are still very disconnected and stressed out. And that's affecting their ability to relate with each other and stay connected, which is absolutely affecting mental health.
So that just tosses the ball very nicely to Caitlin, because when I was asking about the things they specialize in, you quickly said relationships. So that could be family relationships, spousal relationships, I guess even coworker relationships.
Exactly, yes. I work with a variety of individuals, couples, families with kids, even relationship to self. Anytime that I have an individual in the room with me or more than one client, we're working with a system. So their relationship to themselves, each other, and the whole world around them.
Do a lot of the people who come your way, are they first timers in therapy?
It happens regularly.
It does. I asked the question because it has become a lot more kind of common to see accepted. There was a time when it wasn't very accepted. But for anybody who might be new to it, you really encourage people to go to your website, because there they can read about each of you at their own discretion and kind of find out who they feel connected to. Is that how you like to start the process for people?
Yeah, and I think that gives them the best idea of what they're going to be getting into, who they're going to be meeting with. And the other thing that I would add is coming to therapy is scary, right? Like taking that leap, taking that first step takes a lot of willingness, readiness, courage, and just know that we've all been there. We are all in therapy also, so we know what it feels like to take that first step into therapy with a therapist. And knowing too that if you sit down with a therapist and it's not a right fit, we're going to help you find someone that you do fit with.
So okay, Aaron, I'm going to come throw this one to you, because you will see the whole family at Evergreen. So let's make a kind of a classic example of a divorce situation, or maybe there's just problems within the marriage. You can see the kids and you can see each partner separately, but then at times they can all come together to kind of apply what they're learning.
Absolutely. We take what we call a systemic approach to treatment, which means that we believe that symptoms make sense and exist within a whole system. So if we can treat not just the individual, but also the surrounding pieces of that system, we can often create more lasting and long change.
So, privacy is an issue. Obviously, you're hearing things when your clients are in talking with you that you can't go reveal and share, and yet a family is a unit. So are there things, if just one person in the family comes to you, say Caitlin, do you offer some tips to the family about what they can do to support that person?
Yes, we would. There are limitations to confidentiality, even when we're working in a family system.
Yes.
For instance, I treat a lot of children, and I always include parents in my child treatment. However, we explain at length at the beginning what the limits to confidentiality are so that the child feels safe to share with me and the parent feels safe that their child is going to be well taken care of.
Because Martha mentioned that it is kind of difficult and it can be very brave to come forward, but part of that bravery continues, I think, into the conversations because emotions are drawn up. So is it common that people leave you and maybe they need to kind of be inward for a day or so to reflect on what they've gone through?
I think that can be really common, and I think as therapists too, we make sure that they have an internal sense of safety or a way to cope with that, right? If we are accessing something that brings up deep pain or hurt, right? Like making sure that they feel confident, because that's our ethical responsibility as therapists to make sure that we're not bringing up something in them that they're not capable to handle.
Right. You see a lot of men in the practice too,
We
Erin?
do. Yep.
And I only have a minute left, but I want to let people know how each of you specialize. So you, Caitlin, specialize in,
Relationships.
okay, you have kind of a twofold thing, Erin.
Yes, relationships, and I also offer equine assisted psychotherapy, which is an experiential form of therapy utilizing horses.
But not on site. They go someplace else, right? Not where your
I
practice
would love to
is.
have it on site, but no.
Okay. And then you, Martha.
Yeah, trauma and addiction is really my niche, my specialty.
And they are just 3 of the 9 who are there at the practice. So when you go online, if you feel connected to one of them, by all means feel free to go and begin to make that initiation into getting an appointment. But as you heard Martha say, as you go along in the conversation, you might find that it's not a great fit. They'll help you pair with the person who is. Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I mean, we didn't even scratch the
No.
surface. It's evergreen-therapy.org. They're over at Overbridge Lane in Chattanooga. 364-9955 if you do want to give the office a call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Feels good to be home.
Ashley's